Hey y'all, this is class on Friday, October 27th. We're going to talk about the consulting report that's due at the end of the semester. The consulting report, if on the syllabus, this thing's worth 10% of your grade. Okay, if you scroll down on As You Learn to the this week, there's a bunch of new links posted here. We got the economic impact analysis methods I'll refer to in the presentation. And then there's a couple of examples of the type of research that we are going to extend. Okay, and then more examples. This is linked to submit your consulting project preferences. The deadline for that is a week from Friday. And this link is the PowerPoint presentations for the consulting report, which is right here. So the type of research we're going to do is economic impact analysis, and we're going to be looking at high country tourism. Here's one example. This is the sport tourism sector. This is a picture from Blood, Sweat, and Gears, which is an annual event that's held in Watauga County every summer. There's over 1,000 people who participate, and here's the start of the bike race, bike ride. They have 100-mile and 50-mile bike rides, and a bunch of people come up from out of town, spend money, and we estimate the economic impacts of that. Economic impact analysis is a type of research that is done by economists, people in the Department of Management here, Department of Marketing, in supply chain management, all types of business research, all types of disciplines in the business school do this type of research. So it's a nice general type of project for us to work on. The idea is that tourists come up and spend money. And these are the main categories that they spend money on: lodging, food and beverage, and retail. So that money has a direct effect, and that's just the money that goes into the cash register in Watauga County. And then that money gets spent over and over again and generates indirect and induced impacts. And the real effects of that are on production of goods and services. That increases jobs and wages, and then tax money goes into Watauga County. So we have a bunch of clients that we're working with right now. In the past 2 years, we've conducted studies for Blue Ridge Brutal, Beach Mountain Metric, Blood, Sweat, and Gears, 6 Hours of Warrior Creek. Those are all bike races. The Blue Ridge Relay and New River Marathon are running races, and the High Country Beer Fest is a beer festival. So for a number of years, the Department of Economics has been conducting post-event surveys, and this is just a screenshot from SurveyMonkey. I think this is Blue Ridge Brutal. We sent out 300 and some invitations to complete the post-event survey, and we got about 171 responses on this thing. We ask a question about how much money people spend, and you can see from the bar chart that most of the spending goes into lodging, and then food and supplies is the next largest. Travel spending, we take the travel spending and cut it in half, because we assume that roughly half of all the money spent is in the person's home area, and then about half is spent up here in Watauga County. The money spent on entertainment, tourist attractions, and anything else. So here is one of those links that's on As You Learn. With the post-event survey data, the student chapter of the National Association for Business Economists will develop the economic impact reports. And here's the clients that we had last year. This is posted on April 23rd, 2018. And the economic impact ranged from 116,000 to 771,000 for these different events. Okay, the economic impact reports, these are, if you go to this web page, linked on As You Learn, and scroll down just a little bit more, you'll see the link to the report for Blood, Sweat, and Gears. And this is what it looks like. So these reports describe the event itself, describe the survey, and the next few paragraphs describe the economic impact analysis. Okay, a methods report is available online. I wrote this up a few years ago to direct to guide the students who are working on this. Here's the link. I can post a link on this on As You Learn if anyone's interested. But this is about a 2 or 3 page document, and at the end it says that regression analysis can be used to determine the effect of nights stayed and party size on spending. Okay, and here's a research paper that illustrates how that is done. This model can be used to simulate changes in economic impact if events are expanded by additional days or marketed to attract additional friends or family members. So this is the type of analysis that the student club doesn't have much time to do, or they have not had stats to, or for whatever reason we just haven't been able to get this done. So that's what this consulting project is about. Okay, so everyone is going to receive a data set from one of these events, and this is what it looks like. First column is a respondent ID, and then there's a column of data for the number of nights stayed, and it's usually 1 night or 2 nights. There's some people who spend 3, 4 nights or even a week. Party, this is the party size. This is the number of friends and family that travel with the participant in the event. The column D is the total amount of money that was spent, that the survey taker reports that the entire party spent. And then you get a column for the income level of the participant, and this is in thousands. And then there's some other variables out here that we don't use for this project. So the analysis is based on a paper by Thrane and Farstad that was published in the journal Tourism Management in 2011. And you see the descriptive statistics that they have. They've got personal tourism expenditures, and the average is $3,000 some dollars. So that's a lot more money than spent in our little sports tourism studies. But they also have the length of stay by the participant, and our measure of that is the number of nights stayed. You see that the average here is 7 trips. And the travel party size, their average is 3. So this is the main data that we have. They do not include income in their model. Oh, no, there it is. Yeah, so they have income in their model. And this is their regression models. They are estimating the effect of length of stay and travel party size and income on personal tourism expenditures. So this is different than our data because we're measuring the effect of these variables on total tourism expenditures by everyone in the party. So you see the length of stay, the longer you stay has a positive effect on spending. Travel party size has a negative effect, and that's because we're measuring personal tourism expenditures. So the idea is that the larger your party, the less that each individual spends. Okay, so our dependent variable is different than this, and I think we expect to have a positive sign here that the larger the travel party, the more spending that there's going to be. Okay, so here's what I want y'all to do, and we'll use the consulting language. This is your scope of work. Okay, I want you to estimate a multiple regression model. So far we have talked about simple regression models, and in class beginning Wednesday, we will start talking about multiple regression model, and that's chapter 13. So the regression model I want you to estimate, the dependent variable is spend, that's the spending per travel party, and then independent variables are party size, night stayed, and income. Okay, I want you to report the basic regression results, and then forecast changes in the dependent variable, that's spending, with changes in just one of the independent variables, party size or night stayed. Okay, it might be that party size is statistically significant or night stayed is not. In that case, you'll want to use party size to make your forecast. Or vice versa. If party size, if the coefficient is not statistically significant and the coefficient of night stayed is, then you want to use night stayed to make your forecast. Okay, if they're both statistically significant, you just pick one. Okay, and when you make your forecast, make sure to present the prediction interval along with the prediction. And we've done similar stuff as this in class, or at least on the exam. Okay, and then in addition, I want you to conduct 2 diagnostic tests. The diagnostic test includes checking for the influence of outliers, checking for heteroscedasticity, multicollinearity, normality of your error terms, and for the appropriate functional form. And these are things that we'll talk about in the lab on Monday and for the next couple weeks in class. Okay, and then based on those diagnostic tests, I want you to report any caveats. You don't need to make the corrections to your model. I just want you to report the caveats to your prediction result here. Okay, so once you have conducted the data analysis, it's time to write the report. And the reading assignment is Appendix I, that is in Doan and Seward. So take a look at Appendix I, and here's just some tips from that appendix. I want you to try to avoid jargon. Jargon is the type of language that we use in class when we talk about statistical significance and the R-squared and the F-stat and the T-stat. It's best not to include that in your report. Okay, I want you to try to present these technical concepts so that non-experts can understand them. Okay, don't use formulas, impenetrable acronyms, or anything like that. Just imagine that this is a report that you're so proud of that you want to take it home and have someone back home who's never had economics or statistics or any business class. Make it so that they can understand it. Okay, so for example, you can translate your statistics into their core concepts. Instead of saying something, writing something like, the coefficient on party size is equal to 27.5. Say something like, for each 1 person increase in the party size, spending increases by 27.5. All right, and you want to make your report attractive. You want to include a title page, and on the title page, just have a descriptive title for your consulting report. Put the date on there, and then all of the authors' names, and that should be in alphabetical order. Okay, use margins of 1 inch. Let's don't say 1 inch. Let's don't say at least 1 inch. And use an easy-to-read font and point size. So I use Times New Roman 12, but anything that I can read is going to be great. Okay, so Appendix I talks about the organization of a report. What you're going to be submitting is the executive summary. Okay, the executive summary is a summary of the introduction, the report body, and conclusions. Okay, we're not going to have a bibliography and sources. We're not going to have appendices. Okay, so let's talk more about the executive summary. Okay, in the executive summary, your goal is to allow someone who is busy to understand what you did and what you found without reading the report. Okay, so imagine we are writing a report for our clients, and these are all true clients. There's all people behind these events who want to receive these reports and learn about things they can do to increase spending on their event. And every $1,000, additional $1,000 is spent on their event allows them to go to the Watauga or Ash Tourism Development Authority or the Blue Ridge Parkway and get those folks to try to help them put their event on. Okay, so in the executive summary, you briefly describe your task and the goals, describe the data and where it came from, describe the methods that were used, okay, and we're using ordinary least squares regression, and then describe your main findings, just the main findings. And last, present any limitations of your analysis. Okay, and usually an executive summary is limited to a single page. Sometimes it's 2 pages, but it's usually pretty short. So our executive summary, okay, you'll have a title page, and then your second page will be the summary itself. So at the top, write executive summary, okay, and then I want to see 3 paragraphs. Okay, the first paragraph is your task and goals. So for instance, we are in this report, we are estimating the variables that affect spending on the New River Marathon. And then we're going to describe the key variables in our analysis, the means and standard deviations, and data sources, where we got these data. So then you talk about the post-event survey. In the second paragraph, talk about ordinary least squares regressions, describe the regression results, and the prediction that you can make from those results. And in the third paragraph, describe the limitations of the analysis. Okay, and these are the regression diagnostics that you have conducted. So we want 2 regression diagnostics. So remember, you want to try to use as non-technical language as you can. Okay, and this should be double-spaced, and about 350 words in Times New Roman font, 12-point font, is about 350 words will spill off of 1 page. So I don't want this thing to be more than 1 page, double-spaced. Okay, so here's the timeline that we're looking at. And these dates are approximate. We're going to try to do our best to follow these dates. Okay, so the project preferences are due on November 2nd. Okay, and we're going to go to this website. This is the link that's on As You Learn, and we're going to go to that in a minute. And I'm going to talk about the information I'm hoping to get from you by next Friday so that I can deliver your data to you sometime the following week. Okay, and once you get your data, you can go ahead and start cranking away. You'll have, by 11/5, after that Monday, you'll probably have done the lab work that we need so that you can do everything that you need to do for the consulting report. There will be some outside of class lab sessions. These are times that I'll park myself down the lab, and y'all can drop in and work on this thing and try to get it done. I'm not sure when these are going to be. I have to find out when the lab's open and when I'm available, and we'll just set some times. Okay, so I'm hoping to get your analysis, your SPS output, by November 16th. And this SPS output, I just want you to print everything that you are going to be using for your report. Okay, turn it in by hand, a physical hard copy, by November 16th. Okay, and we'll set a time for that. I think that's the Friday before the week of Thanksgiving. Okay, and we're turning this in for an assignment grade. Okay, and then the following week is Thanksgiving week, and the report will be due the end of the next week. So we have the week before Thanksgiving, okay, and then we have Thanksgiving week, and then the end of the next week is when it's due, and then the following week classes end. So this thing is happening at the end of the semester. Okay, so what I want you to do next is go to As You Learn, and let's see, submit your consulting project preferences here. Okay, so this link will take you to a survey, okay, that we're looking for. ECO 2200 Consulting Project Preferences. So type in your first and last name. Oops, okay. So John Whitehead. Okay, and then indicate your first, second, third, fourth, and fifth choices for the research topic. So Blue Ridge Brutal, High Country Beer Fest, 6 Hours of Warrior Creek, Blood, Sweat, and Gears, Beach Mountain Metric, Blue Ridge Relay, and that eliminates my first choice. And you have to answer this question, but if you don't care, just give me some random answers like I'm doing right here. Okay, and then the third question. You can work in a group of not more than 2 students. I think in class I mentioned 3 students, so let's limit it to 2. Okay, so just tell me if you prefer to work individually or in a group of 2 students. If you want to work on this yourself, click individually, click next, and you're done. Okay, but if you want to work on with a group of yourself and 1 other student, click a group of 2 students, click next, and then write the name of your research partner, and make sure your research partner is going to type in your name. Okay, so I can match all up and deliver some data to both of you. Okay, and once you're done with that, I'll be working on the data and trying to figure out how to get that to y'all in the easiest way possible. So that's today's class. Let's see, go back to here. Economic impact analysis methods. So there's the methods report. I mentioned that I would link it up. It looks like I already have. So this, you take a look at this if you want to see how an economic impact statement is done by the student club. We use, there's all kinds of software that does this. There's InPlan and other big expensive softwares. We just use RIMS 2 multipliers, which we purchased from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, from the U.S. Government Department of Commerce. We just use those to estimate indirect and induced spending with type 2 multipliers. So this describes how we go from the survey data. It's just an example of estimates of direct spending. We get the multiplier from the different sectors of the economy, and then we multiply the direct spending by the multiplier and get some bottom line numbers. We add this up for the non-local visitors. We don't care how much money local visitors spend, because if the event was not held here, they would probably spend the same amount of money locally. So we multiply the total spending, the total impact, individual impact, by the number of people, and we get an aggregate impact number. And there's some references. Okay. Like I said, here are the events. If you click on the link, you'll go to the report. Okay. They all look the same. The second link here is more examples, and here's where this is the last time that we did Blue Ridge Relay and 6 hours of Warrior Creek. So this was from the 2015 event, and we got the reports done in the spring semester. Okay, and here's the link to the PowerPoint, and I made a few changes to that, and I will upload the link, and the link to this video is down here, and you will have received an email that thing is posted. So that's where you'll find it. All right, so that's the end of today's class. I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you in the lab on Monday.